Okay. So this is what we discussed last week. That why the need of LWC, then what are the tools to develop LWC, and then we did a small Hello World program, right? So as today we are going to discuss something as we discussed last week as well. Like we are going to see some example in CSS, how to use CSS in components, then some basic HTML elements, events like on click, on blur. And for this, we already have done one example in previous session, like um, this Hero World program, right? So there we have done that. So, but still we will be doing one like on click. We last time what we did, it was like on change. Then conditional rendering. It's like if else. Sorry, how to use if and else kind of rendering, conditional rendering, that, and then iteration, and then .xml explanation. So mostly today's session will be all practical, uh, rather than being too theoretical here. Okay. So let's start this. So last week we made one application, Hello World. Okay, so I'm going to just create one more component here and giving like WC CSS. Okay, and on the same default location. So my org is already connected with this. You can see. This is my org which was connected, and how to connect it, we have seen that in our previous session. So here we have created, let me refresh this. Okay, I'm not sure why it is not refreshing. Let me delete this and create again. Okay, so here we go. We have created, we got this here. So, and suppose we have some, we are going to write some tag here. Okay, so like a simple HTML tags like h1, like you can say, hey, I am in h1 tag. Okay, and just give break line, and then you can give like two, then the same thing you can type here. So this you can do S2 or S3 you can get. Then I'm giving some paragraph as well. So here I mean paragraph. Okay. So let's save this. So in our first session we discussed like whenever we create any component, there are 5 files that we can work with, like HTML, JS, XML, CSS, and SVG. So last two things we cannot see here, right? We cannot see SVG and we cannot see .css. So what we can do is we can create a file here. So I'm going to first copy the name of this component. Okay, so we can create a folder from here. So you can click here, and then you can give the same name as the component name, and then .css. Okay, so here comes our this CSS file, and we have used the tag like h1, h2, and p. Okay, so we are going to create some CSS for this. So how to create CSS for this? So for h1 we can type h1, and then we can give some color, like I want to give color.
Dinesh, this CSS name should be same, right?
Yes, yes, it should be same.
Okay.
Okay, so you can give for h2, for this tab, for second tab h2. Okay, just defining some css here, or h2. Let's see, so we give some color, and let's give it to blue. Okay. Then we have paragraph tag, so let's define some css for this as well. Okay. So I should give some color, a different color for paragraph. Okay, I'm giving this chocolate, and let's save this. Okay, so this is just simple HTML tags. Okay, and I have given define different CSS for all this. For h1 this, for h2 this, and for paragraph this one. Okay, so let me deploy this. And meanwhile it is getting deployed, let me call this application here. And let me deploy this as well. So after deploy, you can see like this will be in a different color. This will be on aqua color. This should be on blue, and this should be a chocolate color. Okay. So my developer console is already open. Let me refresh this. Okay. So we got this. Let's preview this. Can you see this? This is a different color. This is a different color. This is a different color. So anything you want to give, okay, you can define under this file. So suppose if you want to give some, for example, you want to give some background color for this, you can give this. I'm giving, okay, this background color, and then if you want to give like font size, like I'm giving 30 pixel. For h2 you can give like background color. Okay. And for color I'm not giving anything. Okay. And suppose if we want to define, so this is working like for this is h1 h2, this is a standard tag, and for that we are using this kind of css, right? Okay, let's refresh this. Can you see the font size got increased, and you can see the background color, and you can see the background color of this, it's changed completely. Okay, so suppose if we want to use some suppose I'm using a div here. Okay, and I'm saying like hello, I'm div. Okay, and I want to define some custom class for this, custom css for this. So we can give our class like dot. We have to define dot. So I'm just giving a name called div class. Okay, and I'm saying like our div class should be like its color should be something. Okay, and I'm saying like uh, font, font family should be something. Font size should be like 50 pixels, something. Okay, save this, and I'm just copy this class name and put it over here. Okay, just defining a class. That's it. Okay, let's deploy this. Okay, so this is the way we can write our custom classes here, and we can use in our LWC component. So just refreshing, can you see? Hello, I am Dave. So this properties that has been changed is all from here that I have given. Like color, I have given this one. Then font family is this. Then font size is 50 megapixel. Sorry, 50 pixel. So that is coming here. So you can do all your CSS thing here, and you can define your own classes style. You can define here, and this is the way you can use it CSS. Okay. So any question on this?
Yeah, Dinesh, so are you using a custom CSS or is this referring to the STLS, the things that you're defining in .css class,
This is
in the .css file? Yeah. So this color, font family, everything, I mean, is this referring to the STLS somehow, or is this completely custom?
this is a custom actually. See, this is a custom. I have defined here for h1. So for standard tag, right? For standard tag h1, h2, p. These are standard type of HTML tag. So for that, it will automatically pick from here. Like if I'm writing h1, so it will automatically pick from this h1. If I'm writing h2, so this will pick from the h2. All the properties will come that way.
Okay. Yeah.
But suppose sometime what may happen, right? You need to write some custom classes, right? Custom tag, like div. I have written a div here. So for div, I have created a custom class here. This is CSS class, this one.
Yeah.
So you have to just put a dot here, dot, then class name.
Yeah.
And this way you can call here.
Yeah. So this is yeah. Okay, fine. Okay, nothing to do with STLS, right? This is a standard way of doing it.
Yes. So STLS, SLDS actually. How to
SLDS? Sorry. Yeah.
How to put SLDS? So in our last session, I explained that. So if you want to implement SLDS or you want to reference SLDS on your components, you have to use this force column SLDS.
Okay.
So if you remove this, then this look and feel will go immediately. That SLDS look and feel will. So this is basically it will be referencing to SLDS. This one extends force column SLDS. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Are we good to go then?
Yeah, from my side.
This SLDS we can't customize, right? We can directly use that in the JS file with the extend, right?
Are you talking about this one?
Yes.
Yeah, we can extend this. This is Aura app actually. Basically, this is
for customize. I mean, whatever SLDS has provided us, that's a standard defined by Salesforce. So we can't customize these, right? Let's suppose I want to use this SLDS CSS inside this my LWC.CSS customized one. So can we customize that? Any luck?
See, SLDS in the sense it's a complete library actually.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So extend is sufficient, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We can.
That's more than enough.
We can change on top of that, but we can't customize this directly in this file, right? Inside the CSS.
No.
Correct. Yeah, that is the default style.css file, which we cannot modify.
Exactly.
Yeah, but on the top of it, we can override by using this, CSS file.
Exactly. So if you want to write any other customization, another style, you can write here and you can call that into your component.
Okay, fine.
So Dinesh, we can use SLDC provided classes here, right? I mean.
Yes, we can use that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can use that.
Okay.
So suppose
in the inside CSS.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Maybe we can cover that part later.
Yeah. So there are standard classes as well that Salesforce provide. If you go to SLDS and you search anything, you will find a lot of classes. Standard classes. So that classes also we can use.
Okay, I think one more way we have, we can just put those CSS inside our static resource and just can call the path directly in the JS file with the rendered callback. So that will be applicable for entire component, whatever you are going to define this HTML, and that will, if you want to change anything, you can just directly change in the static resource file. That is the another way if you want to make your project more less complicated in terms of coding.
Yes, yes. So
That
there are a
you
lot of
can
ways
try
to
that.
code. Yeah, there are a lot of ways. But this is something we are going through right now, very basic thing.
Right, correct. But that's good actually. I'm just telling you one more way so that you will be remember like, yeah, that's
Yes,
another way.
correct. Yeah, instead of writing in all the components,
Correct.
it's kind of
You
utility.
can just simply, you can just simply use the method rendered callback, and then entire page will be having the CSS which you have defined inside static resource zip file.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we move to the next one?
Yes, sure.
Okay. So next one we had, the next one we had is overview of HTML. HTML events. Okay. So as you might be aware of it, like on click, okay, on change, or on blur. Okay, these are HTML's basic events. There are other apart from this as well, but I'm just talking this generally. Like, and we have used this on change in our last session as well, like when we created an application. So let's see on click one example that is needed. Okay. So I'm just creating a custom component, and sorry. HTML
So
events.
Dinesh, you are creating another component, right?
Yes, I'm creating another component for our HTML events.
Okay.
So here we got it. So actually we have seen on change one. So right now I'm just going to create for on click, and the best example for this would be like I'm going to create a calculator example. Okay. So like if you are adding two numbers, okay. So how to achieve this, and for this, like I will be having two input one and input two, and then a button. So once you click on this button, that on click should work and it should calculate this value. Okay. So just creating a lightning card here, and we have seen what is the use of lightning card in the last session. Okay. So like addition, and we can give a lightning input. We can give something like number one. Okay. Then let's create another one. Okay, two, and just giving a break here. lightning button, then okay, add, and I'm just taking this on click. Okay, and I'm just so this is one I'm randomly I'm giving this name, and I will be defining this method inside our JavaScript controller. Okay, so I'm just going here inside this, creating this method. Okay, so on click, once I click on this button, I should call this one. Okay, so so as in our last session we have seen like how we can capture this value here. So let me define two values here first, number 1 and number 2, so that we can capture the value here. I'm just defining like number 1, number 2. Okay, and what I'm going to do this, just I'm going to bind this value with here, and once you click control and space, you can see this variable here. Okay, now I'm just binding this input with this variable here. Okay, and here again variable, number 2. Okay, so we know how to call this, so we call it through event. We have to write this. Okay, so there is one another important tag here which is called name. Okay, uh, why to use this I'll tell you. And I'm defining here like giving the same name basically, number 1. Here I'm giving the number 2. Okay, okay, let's see how it look like. And we can do is we can comment this, and we can call this STM events. What's this? Okay, so see we have created two input and one button, and on that button on click I'm calling this one. Okay, so let's refresh this. Okay, so this is the look and feel we are giving here, like one number we are getting, we can type anything and then add it. Okay, so and if you want to define some look and feel, okay, let's add this one. So we have defined here one attribute called name. Okay, so based on this name I'm going to pick this value. Okay, so I'm just going to write a if condition here, and I'm just defining two value here first. I'm saying input name, and okay, so you might be aware of this. In our last session we have discussed how to get the value of this. Okay, so this is the way we have to get it, and right now I'm getting the value based on the name. So we will be here getting the name actually on this input name. We will get this name, number 1. Okay, so and I'm getting defining one more variable called input value. it should be the same instead of dot value. Okay. So the reason behind this using the name field is we can get the value from the both input in one method. Okay, because based on the name, okay, sorry. So since we have to get value for this, so we here we can use on change as well. Okay. So when do we need this value? When I click on change, when the value changes, I need value on this. So instead of add number, let me give it like on change, or we can say handle change. And I'm calling here on change. And I'm going to use the same method here as well. So that is the advantage of like this name field, because based on this I can understand from which input we are getting the value. Okay. So on change I'm getting this value, and here I can check like if this input name equal to number 1. Okay. What I'm saying is if my name, if the input name is number 1, then take this value and assign out number 1. Okay, assign to this one, assign this value. And same thing I'm saying is if input name equal to number 2, okay, then assign to this number 2 value here. So are we clear on this, or do we have any doubt on this?
So Dinesh,
So-
could you please explain again line number 9 and 10? Please.
9 and 10 here. Okay. See, this is just a method that will work on change here. Okay, I've defined here on change, and this that will handle change here. So what it will happen is when you click on this anything, when you type here, okay, so it changes happen. So that will whenever you type, this method will fire actually on change. So here what I'm doing, this is just a two variable input name and input variable. Okay, and here I'm taking the event dot target dot name. This is what I told in the last session. So if you want to get any value, suppose if you want to get the label name here, okay, so you can define event dot target dot label. Or if you want to get any value from here, you have to define event dot target dot property name. So the same way I have done here. I have taken input name and input value here, and I have just given a two if condition. I'm checking if my input name is number 1. If I'm saying this is the number 1, if this is selected, on change, if I'm getting this value, then take the value of this one. Okay, and I'm saying if it is equal to number 2 is nothing but this one, and this should be on double quotation because this is a variable value. This is not a variable, right? Got it?
Yeah. So basically, you are taking a, name and value combination, right?
Yes, I'm
In
taking the
line.
norm and combination value and just checking the value here. I'm saying it if the input name equal to number 1, then assign to this variable here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now what I'm going to do is
And Dinesh, one more thing on line 9 and 10. Why are you using constant const?
this way we can create a variable actually inside a method. You can create a variable.
Okay, I mean, I was just wondering if we do not write const, then will it have any difference or?
Yeah, it will be like undefined actually. So you have to define it, or else if you run this program, then it will give like input name is undefined.
So we need to use this constant every time to capture the ID of element, right? Basically, name of element.
If you are defining any variable here, okay, inside any method, if you are going to define any variable,
Yeah.
then you have to use the constant, or else it will come like a variable is undefined or something like that.
Yeah,
No,
I
no,
mean,
but we
no
can
matter.
initialize that.
Yes.
We can initialize that basically. Okay, we can use where, or we cannot. If we don't use, then also it's fine. And one more thing is this number 1 and number 2, 5 and 6, right? Which you have defined. So that is already binded, right, on the HTML. So if you use the track decorator, it will already bind this. So you don't need to write this 12 snippet and the 16th snippet, because you are binding the same to number 1 and number 2 again.
Actually, we haven't covered yet that at API. So maybe that will be confusing for
There is
everyone.
a background noise. We are not getting.
See, right now we haven't discussed that at API stuff. So
Okay.
yeah. Once we discuss that, then we can talk on that.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
So
fine.
maybe if I
Got it.
define right now, the team will no, everyone will get confused here right now.
Okay.
So that is the reason I haven't defined it. Okay. Clear, right, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's create one more method here. Just add number. So on click basically. So here what I want to do is I want to just add this two number here. Okay. So maybe I can define a new variable here. Listen. And this dot is equal to, okay, now we can get this value like this number 1 and number 2 here. Okay, so plus this dot number 2, and we can display, if you want to see the value of this here HTML, we can just display here. Okay, so let's deploy this and see how it goes.
Hello, Dinesh.
Yeah.
So Dinesh, there is one local development server. We can enable local development server for this. So instead of deploying every time, so once we enable this, then we can automatically see the result.
See, yeah, locally we can retrieve, and yes, we can keep that, but I haven't kept here because it's really I can see the large number of components I will be having. So that is the reason I'm not keeping here. Okay.
No. Yeah, you continue.
Okay. So we can enter some name, like I'm just entered here too, and if you click on this, okay. So it is just taking as a string here. Okay, like 1 2 1 2, it is taking it here. So for that we can parse it actually. Representing 2. Okay.
So you mean we can't use data type here, right?
So this will actually, right now, if you see here, when I click on, suppose, it is just adding it is taking as a string here. Okay, so we have to convert that, we have to parse it to int, because number it's integer. Okay, it's integer, so we are converting that to integer. So now if you deploy this, and now if you go check this, okay, so this will give you correct.
Else it will throw error. Can you type any alphabet?
See, that's it. It may give you some error behind the scene. So maybe you can we can change this. Input type to number or something. Suppose here, if you doesn't want to user enter any text or something, then you can type it to like number or something. As we discussed in the last session, like there are SLDS references. Okay. So if you need that kind of restriction, you can always refer this developer guide. You can component reference if you type here input. Okay. So there are a number of things like if you want to give a date input or file input, text input, or number checkbox, anything you can define here. Okay. So here it's like number input. For number, so see the
Okay,
type
okay.
equal to, you
Directly
can
we
give a
can give
number.
type. Okay,
Yeah.
here only. Fine.
You can type number here, and then you can give it like just give here.
Then we don't need to parse, right?
So if you try to type any text value here, you won't be able to type because we have given a number value here. Yes, so I think Monica, you asked, right, whether we should use this parse or not, right?
Yeah, yeah. In this case, do we need? I don't think.
Okay, let's check that as well.
Let's try. Yeah.
I think we might need to parse it because we are just restricting it. Let's see how it behaves.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we can try.
Yeah, we can. Okay, let me give small value. It is not working. Okay. It is just
Oh,
taking as a
okay,
text,
okay, okay,
not
okay,
able to
okay.
convert that.
It's just restricting the component, whether it should be number or, I mean, it won't allow you, I think, string, right?
Exactly.
While typing inside
Yeah.
the box. Okay.
The reason is,
Exactly.
see, by default JavaScript, the data type conversion is inbuilt. That JavaScript itself handles it. So if you need to define, you can define a number and then on the variable side you can define the data type. But else it will take as it is. I mean, it will take a string or whatever it understood.
Exactly.
Okay.
So here,
And
every time we need to parse, right, in the JavaScript then?
right. Yes, we may need to.
Oh, okay.
Or else we can define here like number.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying.
Integer.
Either you can define it here. Yeah. Or we need to pass it.
So any question for anyone?
So you mean to say for any arithmetic operation we have to parse in this way, right?
Not necessarily. Either you can define here like integer, okay, or else you can parse it directly.
Okay.
So hello Dinesh, I was saying before, if you install, you can there is one local development server for this. So if you install, you don't have to push the code every time you do the changes for the code.
Yeah, we
So
can,
now,
we can install that and we can check locally maybe.
yeah. So
I
it
don't
will
have it.
save, it will save some time.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Okay. So
So Harish, if we install that, and what if that mistakenly if we deploy any code which we should not, in that case, does that tool gives us some pop-up or dialog box for confirmation before saving the code directly in the org?
So no, we will not be deploying it to any org. So it will be locally. So whatever the development we do, so it will be automatically reflecting it.
Yeah.
So
So
once
it will run on the local host basically. You know, in our browser only, on the local host server, it will run whatever the application which will save it.
okay. So I think we are good with this, right? Can we move to the next one?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So next our topic is iteration. Okay. So in iteration we have two things like for each and iteration, and like we know in Apex class, right? We write something for, suppose we are working on account, then account and then some list value or some SQL query, and then we do iteration, right? Here, the same way we have here in LWC as well. Okay, so that is called actually basically for each. Okay, so let's see through example here. So I'm just creating another one component, and I can see like for each example. I don't know why it's not refreshing. Okay, so for this I'm just creating some dummy data because when we do this iteration for each, we need some value here. Okay, so for that what I'm doing is I'm just going to create some value here, some array here basically. So suppose I'm just creating an account. Okay, so suppose I'm just giving a name here called let's define some ID. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Hello, Dinesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dinesh, actually my video got stopped in, the Zoom. I don't know how to, again it will come. Is there any option? I can see like, your microphone is unmuted, your video is stopped.
Is it for everyone?
I can see your screen.
Now I can see, sorry, yeah.
Okay, fine. So I'm just creating some dummy data here, and I'm saying like for industry.
How ID will get saved as 123476 means that number?
So
It should be Salesforce. It's a Salesforce ID project.
This is a dummy data I'm creating. There's nothing to do with right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Nothing getting saved onto Salesforce.
No, nothing. This is just a dummy purpose, because as I said, on the far reach we need some list or some value, right? So for that reason, I'm just creating this array of accounts here. This is just a dummy one.
Okay, okay, fine.
Okay, so I can give it like 2. I can give some other value. Okay. So our data is ready here. I've just this is just an array, and I have put 3 value here. Okay, and right now I'm just going to create again. Let's say, so to display this for each, right, we have a template called for each. Okay, we can write a template. Maybe you can go and search here as well. Okay, template, and this comes like for each. So it has a three properties: each, for each, index, and item. Okay, and what these threes are, I'm going to explain you. Then for each, and so for each, this is the something we have to define the list here, right? Like in Apex, we define a list here. The same list we have to define here. So we have one list here called accounts. Okay, so I'm assigning this to here, accounts. Then for okay, so and here we can define, you know, any instance of this. So suppose I'm just defining like you can give any name like ACC. Okay, that this part, right? When we define accounts, a list of accounts, something like that, right? So we can define here. So that comes here. I've given one name here, and then you can define index for this, for and then index. Okay, so what is this index is? It will calculate the index. Okay, you can give a name here. Okay, so what my ultimate purpose is, whatever the value that I have declared here, right? This one I want to display. I want to display here on for each. So here there is one important property which we can say key actually. And any properties that we are going to access, we have to access with this. Okay, account. Like ACC dot value dot ID. So hope you are getting it, right?
What is this key, Dinesh? What does that mean?
Actually, this key is basically, suppose we have a list of record, right? So when we are displaying or when we are processing this value, so through this key we can know, okay, this is the ID. This ID has to be processed. Suppose I have defined here ID, so ID is unique here, right? Or for every record you will see ID is unique. So that ID I'm taking, like this is a for each, right? For loop kind of. So you might have 100 of records. So which one has to be processed? Which one So to identify that one, so we use this one, like account value.id, and then here we can display this value, like index. Like I'm just displaying first value, and then we can say like first value, then
So Dinesh, here the key should be only ID data type or some other data types also we can use.
see id is always unique, right? So we have to provide id. Okay, let me finish this, and then I will explain this. Okay, so we can call this account. So I want to display here, right, account dot name. So I'm just copying this here, account dot name, and then after I'm displaying like account dot industry, right? Okay, industry. Okay, so it should be account dot id, I guess.
So Dinesh, it should be account.value.name.
I think here I've done wrong. It should be account dot id.
Here value will not come.
Yeah,
Account.id.
account dot id. Sorry, that was a mistake.
Okay, then that's fine.
So we haven't used this here. So I'm just calling this to our application. And let's deploy this as well. So now what should happen? Whenever this component loads, it should display this ID, name, and industry. Okay. So let's refresh this. Account one is not defined. Okay. So this is a string value. So I'm just keeping inside this.
Yes.
Okay. So can you see this? We got this array start with 0, and we got all these three record: account 1, account 2, and account 3. And these are the value that we created here. Okay, so if you create another value also, it is going to display on the same list. Something. So any doubts, or are we clear on this?
So Dinesh, manually we have to pass this, I mean, create IDs and name industry.
See, right now, for example purpose, I have done this, but for real time, you will be connecting this, with your Salesforce or Salesforce data table, we can say, or Salesforce object. So just for dummy purpose, right now we haven't covered that topics right now, right? We haven't learned how to connect Salesforce and Apex. We haven't learned all this advanced topic right now. So that's the reason I have just created one array, and I'm just trying to display that value here.
Okay, got it.
Dinesh, can you show me once that HTML file?
Okay.
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
So are we clear, or do we have any doubts, or we can move to the next topic?
just one question actually. Here we are saying for each on account. So it says that means for accounts object we are doing it. Item is account, that is one of the rows, okay? And for index, what is the significance of this for colon index?
See, normally when we write a for loop, we like
It's iterating
integer
through arrays. That's why.
and then like integer less than, okay, less
Oh
than
yeah,
equal to
array.
something.
Yeah, yeah,
Then I plus plus something, right?
yeah.
So that is the format.
Okay, yeah.
This is like
Okay, yeah, got it. Yeah,
here.
got it. As Monica said, array, it clicked me.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
thanks.
this is a list. This is
Yeah.
instance, and this is like it will add another one plus one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to add here, okay, see this item, right? This
Mm-hmm.
item ACC, it's a key, okay, in an array. So basically, it's one of the item. Now this item can be an object, okay. Inside it also we can have indexes. So that last one for index is used to index inside that object. For example, this ACC is an object, right? If in that object you want to render something based on that index, you can use that index variable for index there.
So we can say index. Okay, we can say ACC dot
Object,
ID
yeah, correct.
name anything. Yeah. Okay, got
ACC
it.
of index, correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fine.
So it is like basically it will be pointing to a row, right? Row in an object. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Vivian.
Okay. So we have.
And Dinesh,
Yeah.
one question.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not understanding what is the significance of line number 4 here. I mean, because usually in other for each we do not use this. So why are we using it here? Account.id. Because ACC is anyway we have already defined at line number 3. So when it is referring to ACC.name, then I mean it should have worked just like that, right? Why are we using line number 4 here?
Okay. So somebody want to explain this, or should I?
Okay, Dinesh, can you just do one thing? It will be very clear. So just remove that key equal to account ID and just run this application.
Yeah, just comment it out and check.
See, first of all, it is not letting me save this because missing key for element inside of iterator.
Yeah,
And we
exactly.
have a
So the
unique
point
computer.
is here. Yeah. So what the point is, like, for iterating on this particular array, that is accounts, okay, we need to render that array from that JS part, okay, and to increase that performance part rendering, this accounts. That is the reason on the unique element of that array we use a key, okay. So that's the reason this key attribute is used here on this accounts variable, whatever unique value, either it can be a string or a number, we use that key attribute and assign it to it. Now that is not necessary. That means it is a key of that and we need to use to, display something. For displaying purpose, you are using a for item ACC only. Okay. But just to render this account and to, iterate on it, because if you are iterating on a unique element, that indexing is very clear there, right? I mean, it will
actually,
render fast.
yeah, it may,
Performance is
yeah, actually,
Hmm.
that performance, it will increase the performance because it will know
correct.
the ID actually. Okay.
Yes,
So
exactly.
based on that.
That is the reason. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. So I think we have another one topic, and that dot XML explanation. This one, metadata XML. So this is actually a good topic, but right now I'm not going to explain everything. Maybe I will just explain a few tags that we use here. So we have like the file we can get from here. By default, it creates a 3 file, .html, .js, and .xml. So .xml, we have to make it true, is exposed true, so that it can be available for app builder. So I'm just making it true for now. And there are targets for this, okay. Okay, so suppose if I want to use this component. Okay, if I want this component to be used inside, pages, or app page or record page or home page, so that we have to define here. Okay, suppose if I want to use my this component inside record page, so I have to define like lightning underscore underscore record page. Okay, and suppose if you want to use this for app pages, or if you want to use it for home page, so you can define here as well, like home page or app page. Okay, so now when I will deploy this, okay, let's deploy this. So you can see this component, this LWC component, whenever you edit a page or edit a home page, there you can add it here. So for example, I'm going to account object now. Okay, I'm just taking this one account name. This is too slow. Okay, so if you go and try to edit this page, so I have already few components. I will remove this and I will add here. Okay, so our component name was, okay, for each example. So if we do not add this, okay, if we do not expose this, and if we do not add this to the target like record page, so it is available for record page, and if it is lightning home page, if we are given this, then that component will be available for this home page. And if we write this app page, so this will be available for app page. Okay, so here if you can see, we got here, and if you add this here and save this and go back, you can see the same our component output. This one we can see here. Okay, and if we want to provide some master label for our component, so we can, there is a tag called master label. Okay, I'm just giving like for each example, and if you deploy this, so what will happen this, right now we were able to see this for each example there, right? So instead of that, we can see with this master label, like for each example, this name we can see uh, while we edit this page. Okay, so if I go to here, edit page, if I'm going to edit this record page, you can see this name for each example instead of for each. Okay, can you see this here? So
Jayesh, this master label has to be on that meta file only, or we can put it in the HTML or JS file. I mean HTML.
See,
are you,
on the HTML, by default, it will take whatever you are defined. If you are not defined on the master label, then it will take that for each example, as we can see, right? It was taking that for each EX as a name. Okay, but if you have explicitly defined it on an XML site, okay, that is treated as a manifest file only. Okay, so then it will override that and it will display the for each example that in the caps. what we have defined.
So you mean this master label we can't put in HTML code or what? Like
No,
I
so
just want,
on an
yeah.
HTML code, yeah, on an HTML code, it will always take the app's name. Okay, whatever app name you have given for each EX.
This
You
component.
don't have any master label tag here actually on the HTML side.
Okay, it always be available at meta file. You're saying.
Correct. The tag is used on the meta file.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know where I have seen in my project. I seen somewhere inside HTML. Okay, I'll tell you that. Never
Yeah,
mind.
sure.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
you can
Yeah.
also tell us here if anything you can.
Yes. Fine.
Okay.
Sure.
So there are other configuration as well for this meta.xml, but we can see that later on. Okay. Like we can pass some configuration setting from here to edit page or record page. So that part we can see later on. Okay. So for today, I think.
Acha, one question, last question I have. Sorry to interrupt, Dinesh. Suppose we are exposing this page at app level. So can we this master label will work for the renaming that app tab as well, or
For
because if we have exposed this page at app level, so app will be open in the another tab, right?
see for the
In the
tab,
in the lightning yeah.
Actually, for the tab, there is another target here. You can say like lightning tab.
Okay.
Yes.
So if this is open in tab and I want to keep that tab name not as for each example, I want to give some other name. So the master label will work for the tab as well.
Yes. On the tab
Okay.
also you will see the for each example only.
Okay, I think I need this in one of my tasks I have. So I'll try that. I really need this. The tab name should be renamed with some custom name. So if you are saying that it will work, then definitely I'll try it out
So
in my project and we'll tell you the result. I just need to rename this accounts with that tab name. So that is possible only if I am using this component inside a tab or at app level, right? Not at the record level. That's what I'm trying actually.
Yeah. So in the meta file, you are defining that wherever you want to see this particular app, right? So on the record page you want to see, or on the community side you want to see, you define that same thing. Similarly, we were doing the same thing using implements attribute on the Aura side, right? On the Aura component.
Yeah. Instead of opening that that file inside the record page, I want that file should open at app level at the on another tab, and the tab should be named with something else which I'm defining inside the meta file. So here you are customizing an app and you are just defining your name inside the Salesforce configuration. But suppose I am opening this tab through some other component directly on Lightning, this console on another tab. And ideally, I mean, if you don't assign any name to that tab, then it will give you the name, random name, like, I mean, your component name.
Correct.
So
Yes.
let's suppose it will give you for each EX, but it will not give you like for each example which you have defined the master. So that's what I'm trying. I'm opening this custom LWC through another LWC and opening and that custom LWC is getting open in another tab. So in Salesforce, I have not set up any tab for this purpose.
But yeah, on the Salesforce side, you can open a tab and just check on it by defining a master label. It should work, I think. That is what the requirement is, right? You want the tab to be customized. The name should be customized.
Yes. Because I'm not directly adding this page inside Salesforce tab. I'm opening this page through another process, and that process, and that once I'm opening this page, that page is coming inside a tab, and as of now, the tab name is my LWC component name instead of any custom name. So I want to give it as a custom name. So for
Yeah.
that, I'm struggling.
You can use this. I mean, you can try this. I think it will work.
Okay, we'll try. Thanks.
No problem.
Okay, all clear, right?
Yeah, Dinesh.
Okay, so shall we wind up for today?
Yeah, sure. It was a great session. Thank you.
Dinesh, I have one query. Maybe it's not related to that. So I have created one, record page using Lightning App Builder. Okay.